Hello, my name is Angel, and before we start, I'd like to let you know where you can find Spin on Rock. We are on all podcast platforms as well as YouTube, so make sure you check us out on all of those. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube and give us those 5 stars on podcast platforms. We are also on TikTok and Twitter, so make sure you follow so you can get clips and episode updates. We release every Monday, so make sure you tune in so you never miss. Hello, and welcome to the Spin on Rock podcast. I'm your host, Angel, and with me today is
Eugene?
Tyler.
And Vaughn.
All right. We're in that part of the season where games are kind of important now, but they're also not that important yet. So there's really not that much news to get into. But we have some one big thing and two kind of minor things. First off, the battle of mid with Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks. I don't know if it's because we don't get player beef anymore, but how do y'all feel about the media coverage with this beef going on?
I've been seeing more like Dylan Brooks quotes than I have highlights. And I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I swear to God, the past like maybe week, like they always ask him about different things. And like he's either talking about Draymond, and I think he was just saying something about Luka too. But I mean, like, I don't know. Bro talking a little too much, man. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's just kind of like the media doesn't have anything to report on. So this is what they're reporting on. It's like last resort kind of thing, but I don't know. It's just the season is kind of boring right now.
Facts.
For the most part.
Yeah, like with Dylan Brooks, like that whole team just kind of acts like they've like won something and they haven't yet. It's kind of like they're low-key jinxing themselves here, assuming like, oh, we're young, we're gonna get things done. And this man Dylan Brooks has got to be like at the front of that little idea they got in their head. So, this Ja Morant thing, they're kind of slipping. I think the Kings are number 2, tied with them right now. So, they got to actually show something for all that talk they've been doing. I hope they do it this playoffs. It's always better sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Steven Adams must be pressed. Ever since he got injured, it's just been like one thing after another with the Grizzlies. Man can't just recover in peace. All right. Keeping with beef, Fred VanVleet recently in the post game really just fined $30,000 for just openly talking about the officiating. How do y'all agree with what Fred VanVleet said? I don't really remember what he said exactly, but
basically he was just saying like what everybody's been saying, like how terrible they are at officiating. And like I remember, like, I don't know if it was that same game, but I remember they touched on when Scotty Barnes got ejected for absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's so many things we could say, but the short answer is like he's 100% right. So, it's been terrible.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily see what he said. But I guess just based off of what you were saying, Tyler, it's just like, a lot of people say the same thing about the refs and have been for at least the past couple of years, Yeah. Now the NBA has to, give out some consequences because, it's their refs, it's their employees, so they have to defend them. But I don't know. I feel like $30,000 is a lot, even if you're going to fine someone for that, because people have done that. I think Draymond has done it multiple times, and he's gotten fined like $15,000.
Yeah.
But honestly, I just think it's all unfair. I think they just need to have better reffing. Maybe not better refs, but I don't know. I don't know that whole referee training, but it just seems kind of out of hand at this point.
Yeah, we've all been saying, like, especially this season, it's been like it seems at its worst with like ejections and techs. I know Van Vliet specifically said that ref is the one who's always throwing ejections towards the Raptors team. And we can kind of see it with other refs and other teams, the Lakers Celtics game, that horrible ending and that ref's connection to the Celtics fan base. I know there's one, Mark Davis kind of like favors the Bulls sometimes. So I don't even know if the league can do anything about it. It's just really annoying and kind of hurts the game every time it happens.
Yeah, I think it's always been bad. Like I feel like I've been since high school. There's been talks about how bad the refs are, but now it's getting to the point where like a person like makes a confused face and you're out of there. Like it's getting really like it's almost becoming like the referees are taking turns to seeing like who can get the most outrageous ejection. Because like the Scotty Barnes one, he just threw his arms up and he was gone.
Pretty
Also with
out of pocket stuff.
for real. Also like with like no calls too. Like 'cause I remember or like yeah, I guess it would still be counted as no calls. Like when they after the game they'll say, oh, they should have got this like call or this shooting foul or whatever the case, and that would have turned the tide of like the game.
Mhm.
And there's been a few, like I know the Bulls have had some, and it's just when you see that, it's like, why didn't you call it then? Like, why would you be like, oh, yeah, my bad, we should have called it earlier? Like, no, you should have called it then. Like, now that that can really impact like a team season too. Like, cause if there, I know there's some teams who's been losing like and like because of those no calls, and there's just it's like you gotta be on it, bro. And, like they need to start finding the refs if anything, so they can really be like, okay, yeah, we'll actually make decent calls, but. Until
Yeah.
then,
You
they're
would
gonna keep running
think,
stuff.
yeah. But I think it whatever their union is like prohibits something like that. So
Mm.
that's why things stay the same.
Moving on. Kings. A wild ass stat. Kings win 40 for the first time since 2006. I'm pretty sure there's players who weren't even born in 2006. So that means that like there's some people who weren't even born when the Kings won last 140, which is kind of insane.
Just shows you how terrible their organization has been.
No, no, for real.
And their front office is notorious for making dumb choices too. So like the most recent one when they could have drafted Luca, but they didn't because Divac was real petty and didn't like his dad. They probably could have been doing this a little earlier with Luca. Who knows? But
True.
I mean, hey, good to see the Kings, on top of the West. Beam team, you dig? They're my favorite West team, so
And it's not, I feel like for the most part too, draft wise, minus that Luca, minus them passing up Luca, they still drafted well. They got De'Aaron Fox. They got what was his face? Bagley. He was good for a few years. They had Boogie, obviously. So it was I feel like they had some potential, but it's just the front office never capitalized on it, So I think that's why, like, they didn't center. They had Boogie as their main option, but then they didn't build around him. They had De'Aaron. They still have De'Aaron as their main option, and now they're finally starting to build around him. And he's been in the league for almost 10 years now. So, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm rooting for him, but I guess it's nice to see. It's a nice change.
Yeah, so this season it's a big W for them, but I wonder what they'll look like in the coming seasons. Will the success like spill off into the future, or is this like a one thing type deal? Kind of like how the Knicks, when they first got Julius Randle, made playoffs, next season fell off, and then next season again they had to sign Jalen Brunson to become relevant again. So I wonder if that'll be the same deal with Sabonis. Come here, bring playoffs, next year fall off. So they got to be savvy with what they got, And like you are saying, they do draft pretty decently, like Davion Mitchell, Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox.
Mm.
So they're just adding pieces to it. I hope they keep doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I think this season is more like the pieces fell in place. I don't really give credit to the organization. I give credit to the players because I feel like they didn't really do anything crazy. It's almost the same team as it was last year, with like of course Keegan Murray and some other like additions. But I feel like it's mostly because the players have been going off. I'm not like giving any credit to the organization really.
Well, I mean, I guess the only person I would give credit to is Mike Brown.
Oh,
Yeah.
true. Very true.
That's probably it. That's probably it.
Yeah, because they've had some sorry ass coaches there before. Like
True,
Who
true.
they had
Very,
before?
very true.
Lakers said they didn't want Luke Walton. Kings said let's have him, and they were dog water, man.
It looked like they were gonna start getting good, and then it just went downhill.
No.
And then they had who was it? It was George Karl before him, I think, right?
think
I don't even remember. Like, I just remember Luke Walton recently.
Yeah, bro. It's just not been. It hasn't been good. But Mike Brown, that was a good pickup for them. Especially him coming from the Warriors. So
Yeah. Other than that, I feel like Other than that, I feel like everyone else is just kind of like the coach and the players really just honed in this season.
mm,
Let's see if they make it past the first round or not.
no, not a chance. Not a chance.
God damn.
4-1. I'll give him one at home.
No face. All right. Getting to our main topic. We're talking about teams or players who are under pressure this season who, if they don't win a ring, I feel like that will really bring up a lot of talk for them. So who wants to kick us off with that?
I'll go. Number one, top of the list, got to be CP3. You got Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton. That's like the prime core you want. They're all good scorers. They're not like terrible defenders either. So there's good balance among that quadruple threat, you know. That championship hanging over CP3's head, he needs to grab it, man. It would complete the point guard resume. So that's number one on my list.
I mean, you're not wrong. And I feel like he's been under this pressure for probably like half of his career now, you know?
Definitely.
Like since that Lob City era. Like it's been a minute. You just can't get out of the second, third round. And the one time he made it to the didn't he make it conference finals?
Made a final against Giannis. Oh, are you talking about Clippers?
No, on the Rockets he made
on
the
the
conference
Rockets,
finals.
yeah.
And then he sat out game 7, and then they went over 27 on threes. Oh man, I felt so bad. I think they even showed him like getting pissed off on the bench. He's like hitting chairs and all this shit, and he's
Bro, that Rockets team was so fucking funny because I remember CP3 Harden having beef. CP3 goes for the fist bump. Harden slaps that shit away.
Oh, I know what you're talking about on the sideline. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that team was very interesting. Like, but this is the perfect
it's
storm
just
for him.
I don't. It was just like I guess the one time he made it to the finals, it just he happened to go against Giannis, and Giannis at that level, you're probably not beating 90 times out of 100. But so I guess it's just I'm not gonna disagree with you, but this pressure is probably the most he's had in his career, and if he continues to play, it'll probably even get bigger.
Yeah. I also feel like if he gets that ring, he skyrockets in like point guard position. Like I feel like all CP3 haters, all they say is like can't make it past the first round. So like if once he gets that ring, I feel like a lot of CP3 haters aren't going to be able to say much about him. But it's just if he even gets to the finals this year, because like it's gonna be rough for them. KD's injured again. like the West got harder, even though they have KD now. The West still got harder. So it's like this might actually be like the biggest pressure he felt in his career.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, because like it's always been stepping stones for the haters. It always gets higher and higher. Hornets can't get past first round. Clippers can't reach Western Conference Finals. Rockets can't reach the finals. The Suns just can't win the championship. So it just keeps getting higher and higher. So he's got one thing to do to silence them. It's there this season, possibly.
Yeah, I'll go with a team. We were just talking about earlier. I would say the Nuggets because you've been a top seed in the league for the past I don't even know how many seasons, and you have a two-time MVP on the team. And I know there's moments where it's like 1-on-5 for him out there, but it's just you always do well in the regular season, but then it's just come postseason, it's like I don't know what it is with them. Like they just can't get over that hump. And I believe 2 seasons ago, actually, when the Bucks won, they got swept by Phoenix, who would eventually go on to face Milwaukee. So it's just I don't want them to have the regular season allegations like Utah did when they had Donovan Mitchell, because remember they was running it too. But definitely Denver because you've been on top of the game for the past few seasons, and it seems like it's just you just can't get over the hump. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I struggled between saying just Jokic or Denver altogether, but I feel like they should be put together because you're right. They've been like at least top 3 for the past 3 years, and not only that, but if Jokic gets that 3rd MVP, which is a whole nother topic that we don't have time for today, if he gets that 3rd MVP, I can't imagine the amount of pressure he's gonna have going into the playoffs. The first 3-time MVP, and God knows how long it's been since that happened, and you lose in the playoffs again.
Yeah,
It's like I can't imagine what will happen to that Nuggets team if that happens.
because then it's like later down the line. He retires with no chip, then he's literally be the greatest player to never win a championship, which is a crazy thing to say, or would be a crazy thing to say. But I mean, hopefully it happens. I would like to see the Nuggets win.
Me too.
Or at least make it far, like at least make it to the finals. But
yeah,
like they're healthy this season, so now is I've been saying in the past is the best time to win because you never know what's going to happen next season. Maybe some superstar requests a trade but he's got good pieces around him. Murray, Porter Jr. is healthy too for once. Like he's always out with like a back injury or something.
Yeah.
And now you got Aaron Gordon, who's probably been playing the best he has on the Nuggets. Plus all the role players, KCP, Bruce Brown. You even got a backup center in Thomas Bryant. So now would be the time to do it.
Do you guys think that if they don't make it to the finals at least, do you see a rebuild, or do you what do you think will happen to them?
You got Jokic, you're not gonna rebuild, right?
Yeah,
I guess rebuild was the wrong answer.
Like make a lot of changes.
Just kind of like
make a lot of
clean house, clean house, but
clean
keep him.
house. Go for Kyrie.
That actually
Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming.
They would trade
the
Murray.
Lakers fans telling me to keep dreaming. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh,
Eugene already has an Irving jersey in his closet.
I wish, bro.
Honestly, like the way the Nuggets have traded good players away before, I could see them do that. They trade Jamal Murray for I don't know 2 role players. I could see that happening. So there got to be some importance on this season. Like this should be like win now.
Yeah. I guess I'll go. I was gonna say KD, not necessarily the Suns, but KD is probably under a lot of pressure because this is a really good team that he's a part of who can win a ring again. So I feel like if he doesn't win with the Suns, who knows how he'll be perceived in the future and how his legacy will look. Especially, we already talked about it with CP3 about all the players and how it should benefit him the most, but it's like you're on another really, really good team, maybe even a better team than the Nets were. And now, if you don't win again, it's like that's when the LeBron tweet comes out where you're saying, am I the problem?
Okay, I have a question. I guess it's kind of arguable, I guess. You can make an argument. But who? So I was gonna say Devin Booker.
Okay.
Who would you say is under the most, because I guess we kind of talked about CP, and his whole 20-year career.
Mhm.
Then you're arguing KD, and then I have a backup for Devin Booker, so I'll say that after we finish this. But with Devin Booker, he's made the chip along with CP3. But I guess he's still kind of under pressure being that franchise player,
Mhm.
So like if he doesn't win with the Suns, what's gonna happen, So that's my question. Who do y'all think is under the most pressure
So, like
on the
Vaughn said,
Suns?
okay, yeah, Vaughn said Chris Paul, Angel said KD, you just said Booker. We might as well just say the Suns at this point. If I'm being real.
I think
But I get what you're saying, though. I know exactly what
No,
you're saying.
no,
Like, between
I
those
know.
three, like, yeah. But yeah, that's really tough. I don't know.
I
just
want to
wanted throw that
say
out there.
I want to say CP just because I feel like KD himself probably isn't under pressure. I feel like the pressure is more from fans and media. I don't think KD cares about that much. Cares. I know he probably wants to win a ring this season, but I'm pretty sure if they don't, I don't think he's gonna make a
Die.
whole make a whole
Yeah.
statement about how disappointed he is and shit like that. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's just gonna
Right.
be one of those things.
True.
Because it's
KD
not like he hasn't, won one,
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, I see what you're saying.
he's definitely a dude who does not care about the fake ring allegations or like
Oh
CP
yeah.
no ring,
Yeah.
He tried to hint at the LeMickey. That's what he was doing.
I think it goes CP3, Devin Booker, KD. In my opinion.
No, that's actually valid. Especially like all the good teams that Chris Paul's been on.
Mhm.
And then
True.
people saying like, well, just like Devin Booker, I guess. I mean, how some people are like thinking that he's like a wannabe like Kobe 2.0. So they're like, Kobe would have won a chip by himself or something like that. But and then Kevin Durant is just like, I mean, people say this about Kevin Durant all the time. Is like he ain't going nowhere unless the team's already built. Like they always make jokes about that. But like y'all said, I don't think he really cares. He already got his too. I don't think he cared how he was going to win it. He just won.
Right.
So that's actually pretty valid.
So for my other pick, I was gonna say Joel Embiid.
Mm.
Doesn't have MVP. Still trying to work for that, which I hope he gets.
Facts.
Doesn't have a chip. He's got some all-stars. He's got some does he have all NBAs? I'm sure
yeah,
he
but
does.
he keeps missing first team because Jokic exists, so he always
Right.
loses that
I'm sure he's been on defensive list a couple times, but it's just like the Sixers kind of building around him, kind of, sort of. They've been playing well as of late, at least the best, since he's been on the team.
Mhm.
So it's just kind of like, when is he gonna win? When is he? At least when is he gonna make it out the East? Because I feel like if he gets past Giannis, or I guess since the Nets aren't a thing anymore, the Celtics, if that if it lines up correctly, if he makes it past one of them teams, then he's got a good chance. But
Mhm. he
he has to do that, and kind of the same with Harden too. Now that we're on the Sixers, but yeah, Embiid, I think has more pressure only because that's his team.
Yeah, like for my team, I was gonna say the Sixers because you have Joel Embiid and you keep trying to make things work. You go out of way, you draft Ben Simmons, or you trade for Jimmy Butler, you trade for James Harden, you get a Tyrese Maxey, you try to help out center at the center position, backing them up. They've had Andre Drummond, they've had who else? Montrezl Harrell, Dwayne Dedman. They just keep switching that spot out to help Joel. But there's so many roster changes. Like this year's PJ Tucker too. So it's kind of like if you can't win maybe Joel, I don't think he would. But Joel's been here since Trust the Process era, and the process has still been ongoing for the
The
champion.
process is running out.
Yeah, he may decide I'm not going to win here no matter what, whether it be bad injury luck. Maybe we just don't match up well to other teams. Maybe he starts looking elsewhere. So they probably got to start sweating about that idea of him leaving. I don't think he would, but I think there is the pressure from the management side of things as to whether or not he sticks around. So I
Who do
do
you think-
agree.
Who do you think leaves first? Embiid or Doc?
They
Doc
go-
Rivers.
They kicking Doc. They giving him the boot so fast that they lose this year. Oh man. Dang, yeah, we could say. I know we said players and teams, but hey, a coach under
He
pressure.
said, what
for
about
sure.
coaches?
Definitely. What? I didn't even
Doc
think
got more
about
pressure
that.
than the whole team.
For real, I didn't even think about Doc. I'm being honest. I thought you was gonna ask who's gonna leave between Embiid or Harden. Like,
Yeah,
Nah, I
that's
feel like Harden would leave.
yeah, he would.
regardless, yeah. So it ain't even worth entertaining that question. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, Doc Rivers, low-key, he got a gun pointed to his head to make this thing work.
Oh man.
I low key don't want the Sixers to win just so I don't see Doc Rivers have the trophy in his hand.
That's such hater energy.
Yeah,
He's praying on his man's
hatering,
downfall.
bro.
I'm praying on that man's downfall. Man does not deserve another ring. No, I definitely agree with Sixers as a statement. Same with Embiid. I feel like it will be kind of crazy if Embiid like doesn't get a ring or an MVP, because like being probably the second best center in modern day NBA, arguably tied for first,
Mhm.
and like to not have an MVP or a ring to show for it at the end of your career is like
Crazy.
Charles Barkley type of downfall.
Oh, like actually.
Yeah, like Charles Barkley 2.0 right there.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's wild. That would be wild. I mean, I really hope that doesn't happen. One or the other at least gets a chip but no MVP, or MVP no chip. But then that brings up the question, like, if Joel Embiid wins the chip, who's getting Finals MVP? Probably him. So it's like, are you going to be mad that you didn't win the regular season MVP? No.
Yeah.
So
I think he stated before that he wants Defensive Player of the Year more than he wants MVP. Like, I think he said that in like a couple interviews. So I feel like for him, I feel like the ring's got to be way more important, because you're right. No way Harden, Tucker, like no one else is getting that Finals MVP. I just don't see it
Right.
happening.
unless God forbid things happen, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't go out like that.
No, he'll probably leave Philly before that happens. Like, I don't see him staying on Philly and then like just being like, well, I didn't get a ring. Like, he for sure would have to make a move at some point.
I think a big thing with like Jokic and Embiid, if both of those dudes don't win a ring, I think the idea might spill out that, oh, you can't win a center with a center, as your superstar, and that might bleed into what the future of the NBA look like. Because like these are some of the most skilled centers that have played the game. So it's like if they can't get it done, like what are we supposed to do with these other superstar centers? So maybe that will feed into NBA GM heads, which I don't want it to, because they're really fun to watch as players.
Yeah.
I hope one of them at least in like a 20-year career have to win a ring.
Kind of brings up 2 points. Jokic, not winning a chip. And then, what was my second point? I forgot. Oh, yeah. If that becomes a narrative and the thing, we're gonna start seeing a lot of small ball, like a lot.
Yeah.
Like we're already seeing it now, but like the center is gonna be like 6'9", you know? Like, it's gonna be bad. But
They did try to do that already with the Rockets. They had PJ Tucker at the center, and he was fighting for his life.
I remember that.
In the bubble, yeah.
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 Daryl Morey was so confident that shit was gonna work, bro. No, it was not. I'm trying to remember.
Didn't-
Oh no, you got it.
Didn't Steve Kerr just recently try to do like an ultra small ball thing
Oh,
where he had
I
like
wouldn't doubt it.
no one? I don't remember who it was against or anything. I just remember seeing like the interview where he was like, "I wanted to try it and it didn't work." like it was like ultra small ball. Anyways,
Well, I know
stupid
Kevon
point.
Looney's not that tall. Like I think he's
Yeah.
like 6'10". So it's like they're already not on purpose, but you know, they're kind of already playing, you know, small ball.
Yeah. About the center thing though, you also, because Vaughn's right, because you know you have the superstars, but you also have Cat, who also isn't succeeding, and he was also like one of the centers who everyone was like, "This is the a future center is what's gonna look like." And look at Cat now. I think he's been injured for most of the season. Wolves haven't really made it to anything besides a playoff first round. Like, and then you also have Gobert, who's like a classic center who also is like struggled, haven't really made it like that, hasn't really been the face. So it's like if Jokic and Embiid go down in history with no ring, I am really worried about the center position because like having like a big man who could do it all is like so fun to watch.
Mm.
And the GMs are already like iffy about centers, so I can't imagine what that's gonna look like in the future.
Bro, Shaq would be crying, man, like on national TV.
He would
Good
quit
luck with
TNT. Like
Right?
he would just stop basketball in general.
Nah, Shaq is too much of a hater. He'll just be like, I would drop 50 on every center in the league right now. No one can stop me.
He
Like,
probably
he's-
said that for real too.
Like he's too much of a hater. He will just
Mhm.
he would probably enjoy it. He would probably enjoy it.
Would y'all say like? I mean, I guess it's kind of pressure, just like because the fact that LeBron's on the team. Would y'all say the Lakers are under it as far as like media and stuff? Because I feel like LeBron's own pressure. That's like a whole different universe because he's been facing that since he jumped in the NBA. So like, would you say the Lakers could qualify under pressure too because of the roster changes they made and like the team that they have with LeBron and AD like leading the charge in that? Like, I just want
It's
to.
funny you mentioned that.
Oh,
That
that
was
you?
who I was going to talk about.
Hey,
Oh, you got it. You got the
when worlds collide.
I'm yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, as you said, LeBron's a whole different story. He always got pressure, you know, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
You could also argue, even though he has one, AD, you know, with the season that he's had, I think he has a good amount of pressure. But just the Lakers in general, we got a lot of pressure, bro. Because all them offseason moves, for the most part, it was good. It helped us. We got some role players that have been hooping. The players that didn't get traded have been hooping. So, and we've just been making a heavy playoff push. I think we're like a game and a half behind the 5th seed right now. So anything can happen. Wins, losses. We just got to win more than the higher seeds lose. But yeah, we got a whole lot of pressure, bro. We got pressure to make the playoffs. So like,
Yeah, that's a whole different breed.
I think that pressure also kind of falls to the organization as a whole because you have LeBron, historical player, AD, great two-way player. You can't have another lost season where you don't reach playoffs. You know, you already did that to him last year. You can't waste talent like that.
and we did it his first year too. LeBron's first year. Yeah.
So that's like a crazy thought that you have a guy as good as this and you don't even touch playoffs. So I would say management has a great responsibility in this too.
Yeah, it
Justin
would be
Pelinka.
it would be it would be insane if LeBron ends up leaving the Lakers at some point, and it's like the stat is every time LeBron's missed the playoffs, it was with the Lakers. Because so far, that's what it's been. Both
Right.
times.
I'm like, you're not wrong.
I also think the fans. I feel like the fans, even when they were 13th seed, nowhere close to the playoffs, I feel like the fans were still like, "We better win a ring this year." And so it's like now that they're winning
that's
again,
the delusional ones. That's
Yeah.
the ones who don't know. That's the one who don't know hoops.
now that they're winning again, like it's like the pressure's right back. It's like they finally kind of were like, "Oh shit, they're doing good." Now they're in the play-ins, and now it's like, "Oh, we have a chance to make the playoffs right away." The
Mhm.
pressure is like right back tenfold, especially with D'Lo back on the team. Like,
Yep.
the Lakers are under a lot of pressure.
Eugene, how do you think the coach has been so far, Darwin Ham?
Way better than I thought. Like, I don't even know if it's the system that he has. You know, obviously some of it is. But I didn't know him. Nobody knew him. So it's just like, what is he gonna do? You already can't coach LeBron.
All right, yeah.
Damn near you can't even coach AD. You know, like these are two of the best players in the league, two of the best players probably ever, you know? So it's just like, how does a rookie coach enter this situation? And it goes with the same with what's his face? Ty Lue. What was the other Cavs coach? David
Black.
Blaine or something?
David Black or shit.
Yeah, something like that. It's just like I don't know how they do it, but he managing it. So I was not expecting him to do this well.
See the Clippers too under some pressure, yeah.
I was gonna say Kawhi.
Yeah, definitely
specifically,
him for sure.
Just because you can't call AD street clothes. You can't like make fun of the Lakers for their injury problems. When you got Kawhi Leonard, who hasn't like played more than like who knows how many, like probably 50 games in like the whole time he's been with the Clippers.
Yeah, no,
like,
in that regard,
he's the load management king, bro.
Yeah,
he's the one who created that.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm huge Kawhi fan, love Kawhi, but like you're talking about street clothes with Anthony Davis, like that man is like business casual. Like that man is always not in uniform.
That's fact, bro.
What were you gonna say, Tyler?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, especially with this team that they're trying to like make a playoff push with. You just acquired Russell Westbrook. You have Paul George. You got decent role players in Norman Powell and Terrence Mann, but it just seems like, and they're like fighting for their life in the West right now. So it's more so Kawhi, I'd say, who's under pressure, but I feel like you put Paul George and the rest of the team under there too. But I feel like it's more so Kawhi, like you said, Angel.
You don't think Paul has the most pressure?
Paul
George,
because he doesn't have a ring.
Oh no, that makes sense.
Paul George recently said how he's like come to terms with the fact that he's not the guy who can get a team a ring. He recently went on like some podcast, one of the many Bleacher Report former player podcasts.
He said he was the number 2 guy.
Yeah, he said like he's like okay with being the number 2 guy now because like ever since the injury, he just hasn't been able to be the number 1. Yeah. Which like I can't imagine being able to come to terms with that fact. So like that's kind of like insane that Carmelo. Like it's kind of insane that Paul George has gotten there. But I feel like for him, I don't think he's under pressure really. I think he's kind of just like, let me help out the team more so than himself.
Yeah, I agree that Kawhi would probably have more pressure. Also, I kind of just don't want them to win because I just want proof that it doesn't matter if you have load management or not. Because like you could look at Kawhi's load management, see that he's missing games, and still that he's not 100% team chemistry on the court. Like sometimes they fall back into bad habits. So I'd kind of like want that to be a warning to other teams. If you're going to load manage your players for as much as you do Kawhi, there will be like ramifications on the court. Because, I like Anthony Edwards' take on load management. Like, if I'm healthy, I'm playing. Like, people come to see me all over, pay good money to watch me play. So I like that philosophy on the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Kawhi.
Okay, what about this? Who has more pressure? Kawhi or the organization themselves?
Ooh.
The Clippers.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
the Clippers don't have a ring, like, period.
Yeah.
And you got to think about it. They know how to build teams. We had Lob City. We have this team right now. I forget if anything happened between Chris Paul and now, but it's like they know how to contend, but something is just not there. I don't know if it's front office. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know what it is, but something is just not there to make that final championship push. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Like, they are paying so much money for this team that could maybe not even reach finals. Right. Like, they're not a favorite. There's Nuggets, there's the Suns, So it would be a huge loss to them, especially that man Steve Ballmer is like so invested in games at the court side,
Right.
So it's hurting his pocket watching his team lose games they should be winning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, they're making a whole stadium, like a brand new stadium for the first time in their history. The guys hyping up the bathrooms. They signed Russell Westbrook, who was doing bad on the other LA team. So like you're already getting ridiculed for signing, like, for taking that chance. So it's like I feel like the organization is under a lot of pressure right now.
Would y'all, like, not now since he's still young, but like if this keeps up to where he keeps losing in the playoffs, do y'all think Luka's gonna fall into this category as far as under pressure? I wouldn't say he's under it like right now because he's still young, but y'all think, like, God forbid that happens because I want to see him do well, but like, is that something you definitely could see happening? Like,
if he stays on the Mavs.
Yeah, right.
He might have to leave if Mark doesn't make some moves.
You better do it.
Yeah, that's got pressure on both them in the future, like not right now, this second. You don't even know what's gonna happen with Kyrie this offseason. But yeah, like, as good a player Luka is, he will have those expectations on his shoulders, and it will probably be soon,
Mm-hmm.
But also Mavericks, bro, come on now. Like, that's half a team right there. You got like no center that Luka can rely on. You got like wings. Whenever Luka passes that ball to Reggie Bullock, I know that's an instant brick, wide open or not. Like, when it matters, he's missing every time. Oh, so something's
It's the hair,
happen.
bro. It has him. His center of gravity is off.
I feel like if it wasn't for the fact that he reached the conference finals, I feel like he would already be under that pressure, just because how insanely good he is. But I feel like because he's made the conference finals, he beat a really good Sun teams in the process. I'm not saying, notice how I haven't said the Mavs. I said he like so I feel like a lot of people are like, okay, like we've seen that he can like carry a team. So I think that's like the main reason why it's not this season he's under pressure, just because we've seen him do it before.
So I do got a team, no championship aspirations, but I think pressure to win. And that's the Knicks. They're gonna make this playoffs. I assume they're at the 6th right now, but I think they'll pass the Nets. And they can't get swept. They can't get gentlemen swept after you pay Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett all this money. You have Julius Randle as the guy. That's your core. That's that core team they're paying all that money for. You can't get embarrassed in the playoffs. It's got to be a close series, but you got to hope to win at least one series.
Not wrong.
Fact.
Would that be a stretch? probably with this how this team is constructed with Tom Thibodeau, the coach, but they just can't like get embarrassed. You know what I mean?
Got to win at least 2.
Right.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that. Then it's 200 million down the drain.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, it's already down the drain, but
Oh my gosh.
you know, it's the Knicks. They got the money, so they can
True.
waste it however they want.
Mhm.
I think they're one of the more popular franchises in general, or like their worth is like in the billions.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
That's insane. All that just to what? Not make the conference finals in years.
yeah.
I feel like they're under pressure to at least win a series. At least win a series. I feel like if you lose in Game 7, I feel like that's kind of tough. I feel like the fans won't forgive you.
Yeah. I know you got it.
It
I was gonna say,
depends.
like-
I feel like it depends how they lose. Like if it's like a game-winning buzzer beater,
True.
but because like Game 7 is like, obviously he's back and forth series, and then Game 7 loss is just who wanted it more essentially. But if they get blown out in the Game 7, then their fans will be on their ass.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, Knicks fans pressure. That's a whole different type of pressure for them. Let's get that out the way right now, bro. Especially they got bounced. Didn't they get gentlemen swept? Matter of fact, by Trae Young or by the Hawks?
Was it gentlemen's?
I swear.
I thought it was at
ended
least
5.
6.
Oh, it
Was
probably
it?
could. Ooh, that's what.
I don't
I mean,
remember.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Shit,
That's a
That's a
don't
long
even
time
matter.
ago.
It's like Trae Young made the Knicks his children. Like that was an
He
embarrassment.
made the entire
He
state.
sung the whole city, bro. Like you had
Bro.
like baseball games chanting "fuck Trae Young." Like he was living rent free.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say that. Like
Mhm.
to this day, they chant "fuck Trae Young." Like I can't imagine.
Yeah,
Like-
Atlanta won 4-1, bro.
Jesus.
Oh, because they won Game 1.
Yeah, Trae Young hit that little floater.
Yes.
He was bowing to the crowd and all that.
Yes.
So they won Game 1. New York lost. I mean, sorry, New York beat them, and then the Hawks won the next 3. So that's not really gentleman's flip, but that's still a mollywop. So like,
Yeah. The fans won't forgive them if they lose in the first round.
Mm.
Especially because they're pretty high up. So would they have home advantage?
ooh, they
The
are.
Knicks?
Yeah,
No.
they're 6.
No.
I
Because
think.
they're-
No.
Yeah.
Oh, they're 6. I thought they were 5.
They
Mm-mm.
would have to climb to the 4th seed and be better than the Cavs.
Oh, that's
And
not happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I
Okay.
got another player. What about? I know he's on a terrible team, but is there any pressure on Bradley Beal?
No. I feel like people know. I don't care how many times he says he's not. He's bag chasing. He's bag chasing.
Dude, he's literally like the next Carmelo with the bag chasing. Like,
Okay, but not necessarily like win a chip or whatever, like we've been talking about. But like,
Mhm.
is there any pressure? Just like, period. Just like for anything.
If this was a year or two ago, I would say yes.
Why?
Because that a year or two ago, he was on fire. His contract was coming to an end.
Mhm.
Like he had the chance to leave the Wizards and prove that he can win with win like a playoff series.
Mm.
But he re-signed with the Wizards when they had nobody. When he
Max
re-signed,
extension.
they had nobody on their team.
not for real.
So like that's like you can't deny the bad case allegations when you re-sign with the Wizards, who when you re-signed was just as bad as like actually were not too long ago. So I think now there's no pressure whatsoever. His best teammate is Kyle Kuzma.
And he's not
Hey,
good. So.
you sleeping on the unicorn, right?
Okay,
Porzingis,
okay.
man?
Porzingis.
I think there's a difference between him and Dame Lillard, who like have similar like careers. They're sticking with their teams. I think Dame actually believes he can win in Portland, you look at Bradley Beal's face when he's playing. He's just getting that bag, man. He's
No.
getting points. He's getting his shots up. He knows he's not winning there. There's no way. Ever since John Wall era, it's been downhill. You know,
He should have
He
left
wants-
and rusted. Like, why did he stay around after Rust?
Yeah.
right?
He wants the money and he wants the records, bro. He wants
Yeah.
all the records.
He wants to go down as a Wizard legend.
He just wants to be all time at this point.
Yeah, he doesn't even care about
Yeah.
being an NBA legend. As long as he's a Wizard legend, he doesn't care.
And so, what do we think about Dame since Vaughn brought him up? What type of? There's got to be something there, but it's just like you said with Bradley Beal, is like he firmly believes that he'll do something with Portland, and right now they're sitting at the 13th seed in the West. So
I think more than anything is high expectations for himself more than his team. I don't think he's out here to point fingers. So I think if they lose a tough loss, I think he's putting that on himself,
yeah,
just based on like other interviews he's done. I don't think that, but the Trailblazers should also, like, the organization should be sweating bullets out here, because
I
Like,
feel like,
that's a-
yeah.
that's another talent you're just wasting. Like, if they don't make playoffs, like, what was it all
Mhm.
for?
exactly.
Like there's more pressure for him to leave the team than there is for him to win a ring. Like,
He's in like that rare club of people that we want to see him hop on a different team just so he can win. Like he's in that rare, like he's in that arena, bro. Like he's one of like few.
I feel like generally speaking, yeah, I mean, he already is. Isn't he number one on all time scoring for them?
I believe
For the
so.
Blazers? Yeah, I think for the
Mhm.
Blazers it is.
So like at this point, he's like the greatest Blazer of all time. You know, even in talks with like Clyde.
Bill Walton,
but-
probably, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like generally speaking, the pressure might end up being like CP3. Even depending on what team he goes to, if he leaves. It'll just kind of steadily increase as his career goes on, because he's not getting any younger. And if he really like plans on retiring there, it's gonna increase tremendously.
mhm.
I think,
You already.
what was it?
I was gonna say, like, you already got the memes where it's like Dame Lillard, like, rookie year, and it was like 0 time blah blah blah, 1 time rookie of the year, and then Dame now, and it's like the exact same stats. Like those memes are already popping up more and more,
Yeah.
and like
Right.
I can't imagine how it's gonna look 3 to 4 years from now if he's still on the Blazers.
Mhm.
Mm.
I think another thing for the Blazers is if you can't make the Dame experiment work, they're not going to do him dirty and trade him if he wants to be there. They'd be like, Dame, do you want to leave? And he's like, no, I want to win here. They can't just trade him, because if you get rid of Dame, if you do him dirty, no one would want to touch the Trailblazers, right? If you're a free agent, you're not going to the place that did Damian Lillard dirty.
That's
So-
facts.
Like of all people.
So the Trailblazers are more or less kind of stuck with him, but you're stuck with a top 5 point guard every year, so it's not
Mhm.
a bad situation to be in. It's just you paid him a fat stack, so that's going to be a hurdle in trying to form a championship team. But yeah, I think that's just another thing added. Just, if they're going to win, they have to do it with Dame.
Any last thoughts?
Would y'all say the Warriors could be putting this pressure as well, because they didn't make too many roster changes and they just came off a championship? But I know injuries, it happens. And wait, are they 6th in the West? Yeah, and they're 6th in the West, and they didn't make too many roster changes. I know, like I said, I know injuries happen, but would y'all put them in there too, especially since they just came off a championship? And they
Honestly, I think you could put any defending champ,
on there.
with maybe not a lot of pressure, but pressure to win, pressure
Yeah.
to repeat. It's already hard enough to do as it is, but it's
Mhm.
always there.
Especially
I
under
would-
the Warriors.
Yeah, doubly so because if they do mid this season, early exit, and they start struggling next season, they'll probably say this year was the beginning of the end. And so that'll add, like, they're already looking at Draymond, like, are they going to pay him or not?
Mhm.
So that might be the same thing for Clay when his contract comes up, things like that.
Mhm. I have a real quick. I have a team and a player. Which one do y'all want first?
Guess the team first. Yeah.
Do the Grizzlies have pressure?
Yes.
With the amount of talk that they talk,
Of course
yeah.
they do. I think that's the one team who has pressure from media, other players, and fans combined.
Mhm. They got all three.
I think all three.
Because it's like they're sitting at a pretty 3 seed right now, and they're 3.5 games ahead of the Suns, and the Suns don't have KD right now. So, I mean, and Grizzlies don't have Ja, obviously, but the Grizzlies can perform without Ja, as we saw last year. So it's like they might end at the 3 seed, and then wait. Is Ja actually suspended for 50 games?
No, it was
Nah.
4, I think.
They
Because
were
I
saying-
saw rumors about it, but I didn't know if that was real or not.
Yeah, I think it was
Um,
something about like some gun on a team plan or something, and if it went back to him, they were suspended for 50 games. They're already making the Gilbert Arenas jokes as soon as that the rumors dropped on that. So yeah, that's very nice. No. I think
So
it's just a
then-
couple games.
Right. So then, assuming he'll be back for the playoffs, then they'll be back in form, hopefully. And then who does the 3 seed go against? 7?
6.
6, yeah. So that
Oh, so that'd be against the Warriors. 7
Oh,
games
great
against the
matchup.
Warriors.
Oh, good matchup. Oh,
Hey, that'll be a
Dylan
great matchup.
and Draymond again, yeah.
They probably won't make it out of the first round if that's the case, but I feel like that they have maybe not like a lot, but definitely a lot of pressure. Like a great deal of pressure. And then the player, Jimmy Butler.
Ooh,
Ooh.
that's actually a good one.
I think he's had pressure since the bubble.
I'd say
I feel-
also like the Heat might have more because they're a
As a team,
7th
yeah.
seed right now, and Jimmy, it looks like he's the only consistency there,
Mhm.
and everyone else it's just like I don't know what that composition is. Like Kyle Lowry is kind of like showing his age, and then they're relying on good guys like Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, but they're role players. They're not like go-to scorers,
Mhm.
And then Tyler Hero's on one, he's off one. So
Streaky.
yeah. So I'd say the Heat might have more.
Just
like-
in general, yeah.
Yeah,
The
to like
team.
prove that they're not wasting Jimmy Butler as well.
Yeah.
Would you include or separate Eric Spoelstra from that?
I don't know, man. Because like in the past, he's proven to be able to outcoach other teams in the playoffs.
Mhm.
But this season, I don't know how his lineups are. It could be a thing like with injured players. I don't know who's in out because
Right.
Victor Oladipo, Kyle Lowry, they'll get injured sometimes. So I don't know because I always see him playing zone defense, and like that's not really a thing I see in the regular season.
You don't even really
So-
see that in the NBA like that.
Right, like
Yeah.
people figure that out pretty quick, but like you can't just rely on zone defense all the time. That's
Right.
all. Every time I tune into a Heat game, that's what's going on.
That's
Yeah,
all I
like-
got.
Yeah, like on paper, like Miami, like it. Oh no, actually, when they acquired Kyle Lowry, everybody thought that they were, I mean, they did make the conference finals, correct?
Yeah.
Against the Celtics. So like after that, people,
people.
yeah. So like, I feel like after that season, people thought that they were going to be like in the same boat, bounce back. But I mean, we'll see. Because I mean, it's just I don't know if what Miami wants, what they're doing right now. Like you said, got injuries. I think Duncan Robinson hasn't touched the court in God knows how long. Like, there's so much stuff going on. Like, I feel like it's more like internal like problems too. That's like the main thing. Like, forget injuries. Like, it's just I feel like there's a lot of internal pressure as well. Because like,
Mhm.
just I won't say there's tension, but just from what reports and all that show.
Right.
Yeah,
This might be like a pattern because like when they made the finals, they fell off the next year, got swept by the Bucks.
Mhm.
Last year they get Eastern Conference Finals, like one shot away from making the finals, and now this year they're in a downward slope again. So next year they'll be better, based on what we've seen.
yeah, I feel like the Heat don't know what they're doing either. Like I feel like the organization, like signing Kevin Love, like out of all the players in free agency right now who are on the team, I feel like Kevin Love was definitely not a priority or shouldn't have been at least. So it's just like who knows if the Heat will bounce back at all, especially because Jimmy Butler always he voices when he's upset with the team. He's not quiet about it, and so it's just going to be interesting to see how they handle the rest of the season in the playoffs.
I mean, yeah, even with him like voicing stuff like that, it's like I guess he enjoys being on that team.
Oh
He's
yeah,
been there for a good amount of time now, so I guess it's just a bunch of figuring out to do.
mm-hmm. All right. I kind of want to throw Trae Young in there just because the person who was in the trade Euro in has reached the Western Conference Finals, has played in a lot of playoff games, a lot of game sevens, and you're kind of just been the highest you have been with the Hawks is probably like the 5th and 6th seed. Do you think there's pressure on Trae Young at all to finally go far with the Hawks, or do you think their underperformance has kind of killed that pressure?
I mean, they made the conference finals the year the Bucks won, I want to say.
Oh,
That was
that's
like
right.
that same. But yeah, I would say there's still some type of pressure for him because I know there's a lot of people when he was coming into the NBA saying like he's not a player that you can build around, that they just thought that he was like trying to be a wannabe Curry with all them long, like them far shots he would be taking and all that. But I feel like there's still like some type of pressure, but I feel like it's been kind of overshadowed by all these other teams. So it's like not talked about as much, and especially since the Hawks have been playing like they haven't really been like the talk of the town as of recent. But I feel like there's still pressure there, especially on him. So.
Of every team and player we've mentioned, I think he is the least pressure.
Mm.
I used to be like a Trae Young hater, but like I know he's a great player. But even people say he went to the Eastern Conference Finals. His path was pretty easy. It was like the Knicks, and it was either like the Pacers or the Raptors without Kawhi and before Scotty Barnes or something.
I think
It was
team
Philly. I think it was Philly.
Philly. Yeah, it was a Philly team that just kind of wasn't on one. So those were both teams
Yeah.
they should beat. And then you get slapped by the Bucks. Like that's no one was expecting them to beat the Bucks that year.
It didn't even help that he had that injury too.
Right. And then this year, they're just chilling at the 8 seed right now. There's no way this team is going to go past the second round. They'd be very lucky to make conference finals. I think that's another player who would be like Luka. Both those guys made conference finals. They're both young, so that pressure will probably be coming soon, but like not quite now.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say the same exact thing as Vaughn, just like comparing him to Lucas Pressure. It's like, they're both still young, literally in the same draft class, kind of for the most part in similar situations team wise. Just kind of carrying the team literally on their back, doing whatever they can to win. Not much help behind them. But yeah, I don't think he has really any pressure. I think that I'm not even gonna lie. I think that conference final run was a fluke. I really don't think he even should have made it that far. But yeah, I mean, hopefully, I guess next season, because they're not gonna go far in the playoffs this season. But hopefully next season, him and DeJounte can like figure something out. And then with Quinn Snyder being head coach for assuming a full season, something works out. But yeah, I don't think it's a lot of pressure or any, to be honest.
All right, I think that's where we're gonna call it. If you're listening on all podcast platforms, make sure you give us that good old 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. We are on all social media platforms, so make sure you follow us at Spin the Rock for clips, episode updates. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you again next week.
Sir.
Baby, hop in the rocket, yeah, we gonna blast off. I just bought my own, I can't tell you why they mad, dog. I've been eating good like I'm off a line of bath sauce.